In the 4th year of dating Ashley Smith, we decided to get married. But just 2 weeks before our wedding, she held a bachelorette party that was actually a wedding ceremony with her idealized first love. At the party, she wore a pure white wedding dress and kissed her idealized first love passionately and boldly, saying, "My youth has no regrets." I watched this scene coldly, gave them the biggest gift card as a blessing, and turned around to cancel the wedding that was supposed to happen in 2 weeks. The moment Ashley Smith walked out, I didn't react, thinking it was just another part of the party. It wasn't until Ashley Smith took Ryan Davis's arm and walked down the red carpet in the middle of the lawn with a flirtatious look on her face. The two of them walked onto the stage in the middle of the crowd, and my mind went blank. A burst of warm applause erupted around me, and countless probing eyes turned to me. Isn't Ashley Smith supposed to marry Ethan Wilson? This couple really knows how to play. Didn't you see the small print at the bottom of her invitation? It said she was going to fulfill her promise with her idealized first love. Wow, Ethan Wilson is really generous. Wouldn't this be her second marriage? I immediately took out the invitation Ashley Smith had sent, and sure enough, there was a line of small print at the bottom. My face darkened instantly. Ashley Smith had originally told me that this was her bachelorette party, and all our mutual friends were invited. Now I had become the center of everyone's attention. Ashley Smith was wearing the wedding dress that we had picked out together a while ago, but the pure white skirt was now incredibly ironic. Welcome everyone to Maya and Ryan Davis's Making Up for Lost Youth, No Regrets wedding. Then, a slideshow of their love story began to play on the big screen behind them. The bachelorette party sign had been replaced with a sweet photo of the two of them. I suddenly remembered the night Ashley Smith and I set the wedding date. That night, we were playing on our phones on the couch when she suddenly came across a video and asked me what I thought. The video was about an elderly man marrying his high school sweetheart after his wife passed away. I frowned as I watched the video. I feel sorry for his deceased wife. Ashley Smith nodded at the time. Yes, it's very unfair to his deceased wife, but it's also understandable. After all, an idealized first love is like a beacon. Even if you fall in love with someone else, you always feel like something is missing. So we should seize the moment and not leave regrets for the future. At that time, I hugged Ashley Smith and nodded. We will definitely not have any regrets. I thought it was just a normal conversation at the time. After all, we had been dating for 4 years and were starting to talk about marriage. But now that I think about it, Ashley Smith was clearly testing my bottom line with her words. Cheers rose and fell, kiss, kiss. In the midst of the cheers and screams, I came back to my senses. When I looked at the stage again, Ashley Smith was pouting with her arms wrapped around Ryan Davis's neck. The two were about to kiss when Ryan Davis raised an eyebrow and looked at me. After the kiss, Ryan Davis took the microphone. Thank you everyone for making my youth complete. Ashley Smith has always been the girl I love most, and even if she becomes someone else's wife in the future, I will never forget our past. Ashley Smith took the microphone. I especially want to thank my fiancé for being so generous and giving me the courage to make up for my regrets. In an instant, all eyes were on me, with mockery, admiration, and amusement. But I had been coldly watching Ashley Smith from beginning to end, only feeling that her affected behavior was nauseating. Then, I took out the invitation Ashley Smith had sent and gave them a gift card on stage. No need to thank me. Just consider that I was blind before. I wish you a happy marriage. Then, I looked at the friends whispering to each other under the stage. My and Ashley Smith's wedding is cancelled. Don't bother coming. After saying that, I clenched my fists and walked out of the venue. Ethan's joking. Our wedding will still be held as scheduled in 2 weeks. Please, everyone, do us the honor of attending. Then she started telling everyone to have fun, while I went to a bar to drink alone. I never thought Ashley Smith would give me such a big surprise today. As I drank the bitter wine, I recalled my past with Ashley Smith. Ashley Smith and I met in college, in a project group. She was lively and got along well with every student. It could be said that I fell in love with her at first sight. After finding out that she didn't have a boyfriend, I pursued her passionately. I was also in the early stages of love at that time, and my love for her was intense. It wasn't long before we became a couple, and she was almost a perfect girlfriend. We moved in together after graduation, and it was then that I found out that we were practically childhood sweethearts. Our families lived close to each other when we were young, and we played together, but then my family moved away. After taking over the company, I learned that although we had lost contact for so many years, our parents had maintained a cooperative relationship. Ashley Smith was my idealized first love. At that time, although I knew that she had had a boyfriend before me, I didn't care too much because I thought that was all in the past. What's more, Ashley Smith had told me that their breakup wasn't pleasant. Who knew that the two of them would pull off such a disgusting act today? The person who used to be well behaved and said she wanted to spend the rest of her life with me was actually a rotten person. Ashley Smith didn't specifically hide this matter. Soon, several friends called, and unsurprisingly, they all came to make fun of me. Some even sent me the promising college sweethearts photo of Ashley Smith and me from back then. During graduation, we were awarded the Most Promising College Sweethearts title because of that photo. Who knew that things would change so quickly? I staggered home, drunk. My hand throbbed a little when I opened the door, and I realized that the keychain was so uncomfortable. It was a moon-shaped ceramic keychain that Ashley Smith and I had made by hand when we moved in together last year. Hers was sun-shaped. At that time, she was radiant and said to me, "This is one of a kind in the world. Be careful not to lose it, or you won't have it anymore." My heart melted when I looked at her careful appearance. But now it had turned into a sharp sword, piercing my heart fiercely. I pulled the keychain off with a cold face and wanted to throw it in the trash, but I couldn't bring myself to do it after all, so I put it on the shoe cabinet. The house was deserted. I didn't turn on the lights and went straight to the couch. Everything in this house was decorated by Ashley Smith and me, and every corner had our little ideas. Now that I think about it, it's just ironic. I don't know how long it had been. The alcohol was getting to me, and just as I was about to fall asleep, I heard a sound at the door. "Wait for me, I'll get ready right away." It was Ashley Smith's charming voice. Then she came in and turned on the lights. After being lovey-dovey with Ryan Davis, she screamed when she turned around and saw me on the couch. "Why didn't you turn on the lights when you were at home? You scared me." The corners of my mouth twitched. "Do I have to report to you even when I'm in my own home?" She didn't care about what I said, but sniffed hard with her nose. "You've been drinking?" Then she fanned her hand and walked into the dressing room with some disgust. I knew she didn't like the smell of alcohol, but why should I live according to her preferences now? Then a very smug male voice came from the door. When I'm with Ashley Smith, I always respect her feelings. I gave him a cold look. Just when I thought Ashley Smith would be sensible enough to pack her luggage and move out, she looked up. "Ryan Davis and I are going on our honeymoon. We'll be back before the wedding. Don't miss me too much." Seeing her wink playfully, I felt like I had swallowed a fly. "You don't have to come back. The wedding is cancelled. You and your youthful regrets get out of our house." As soon as I finished speaking, Ashley Smith looked at me in confusion. "Didn't you agree that we shouldn't leave regrets for the future? You don't want me to complete it after we get married, do you?" I looked at her speechlessly. This wasn't the same thing at all. Besides, we're just saying goodbye to the future now. We don't have any feelings anymore. We're just fulfilling our past promise. Ashley Smith's face was calm, and she even came over to hold me, using her usual coquettish tricks. Ryan Davis looked hurt at the door and finally choked out a sentence. I don't expect to have a result with Ashley Smith as long as she's happy. They were singing in harmony, and I had become the villain who was tearing them apart. I threw Ashley Smith off and threw her suitcase and unpacked luggage out together. Get out! Ashley Smith was furious. I'm doing this for your own good. I'm giving you a few days to calm down. After saying that, she left with Ryan Davis without looking back. I sat on the couch and couldn't help but sneer. Just then, my phone rang again, and I was impatient. You better have something to say. I thought it was those friends who were watching the show, and my tone was not very good. Ethan, come to the hospital quickly. Your mom's heart disease has flared up and she's being rescued. I sobered up instantly. When I arrived at the hospital, my mom was still in the emergency room, and my dad was sitting on a bench outside the emergency room, looking haggard. What exactly are you and Ashley Smith doing? It was only then that I learned that Ashley Smith had made too much of a scene today, and the video had spread all over everyone's social media. My mom happened to see it before going to bed, and all of a sudden, I immediately slumped down next to my dad, holding my face in pain. My mom's health wasn't good to begin with. She had just had heart bypass surgery, and now she was so anxious and stimulated. The doctor had already issued a critical condition notice once. I watched my dad sign his name with trembling hands, and my heart ached. My dad and I didn't say a word for 4 hours. It wasn't until the doctor came out again. In our hopeful eyes, the doctor sighed. At that moment, my heart stopped. We've saved her for now, but we'll have to see how it goes tonight. In the ICU, my dad and I held my mom's hand one after another. My voice choked up. Mom, hold on. There must be a way. We'll find a way. We'll transfer you to another hospital. Tears fell like they were free. At this moment, I was just a child who was about to lose his mother. Through teary eyes, my mom opened her mouth. Ashley Smith, wants to say something. It took my mom a lot of effort to say this. Tears and snot were mixed together. I wiped my face and responded repeatedly. Ashley Smith, right? Okay, Mom, don't get excited. I'll call her right now. Mom, hold on. I staggered out of the ward, and my hand holding the phone was shaking uncontrollably. I prayed that Ashley Smith would answer the phone quickly. As long as she answered the phone today, I wouldn't argue with her. She could do whatever she wanted. Once, twice. I hung up and called again, but she hung up again. When I called again, the phone was already turned off. My heart sank completely. I mobilized all our mutual friends to contact her, and even called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. But I only received a message from Ashley Smith. I'm busy. I'll deal with anything big when I get back. Just as I was about to call her again, a few nurses ran past me in a hurry. My heart skipped a beat. Sensing something, I quickly followed them. As soon as I ran to the ICU, I saw the doctor performing CPR. I suddenly felt short of breath. I kept praying that as long as my mom could wake up this time, I would do anything. But in the end, my mom still passed away that night. My dad seemed to have aged 10 years overnight. He couldn't even walk steadily. Mr. and Mrs. Smith rushed over when they heard the news. They kept apologizing to me, but what was the use of that? My mom would never wake up again, and nothing could go back to the way it was. I deeply regretted getting to know Ashley Smith. I hated her. If it weren't for her nonsense, my mom wouldn't have died. I hated myself even more for not being able to see people for who they really were. Until my mom's funeral was over, no one could contact Ashley Smith. Even when Mr. and Mrs. Smith called, the phone was turned off. She seemed to have disappeared from the world. Just when Mr. and Mrs. Smith were about to call the police, Ashley Smith posted a photo on her social media. I didn't believe that she hadn't seen a single phone call for so long. She was doing it on purpose. My hatred surged into my heart instantly. In the photo, Ashley Smith and Ryan Davis were honeymooning in Cancun. The two of them were dressed in cool clothes, holding hands and looking at the sea. The caption read, "You can't meet someone too amazing when you're young, otherwise, you'll be lonely for the rest of your life because you can't forget them. Goodbye, my youth, my boy." I looked at the page on my phone, my eyes were bloodshot, and my fingers were clenched so hard that they hurt. Mr. Smith was so angry that he was sent to the hospital on the spot. So my mom's life was not as important as Ashley Smith seizing the moment. She said on her social media, "Of course, I want to give my boy all the rituals. Sorry to the family members who have been calling me lately." In order to feel more of nature, I didn't use any social media devices during the entire trip. I'm really happy. I suggest everyone try it too. I immediately blocked all her contact information. The next time I saw Ashley Smith, it was in front of Mr. Smith's hospital bed the day before the scheduled wedding. Ashley Smith rushed over as soon as she got off the plane. She had just been slapped and was kneeling in front of Mr. Smith's bed. "You little brat, do you know how much trouble you've caused? Kneel here until you know you're wrong." Ashley Smith no longer had a smug look on her face. When she looked at me, her face was apologetic. I didn't want to look at her face, so I left the ward. Behind me, I could still hear Mr. Smith's stern scolding. Ashley Smith knocked on my door that night. "Ethan, I'm sorry. I didn't know something so big had happened. I know I was wrong. I was on the plane when you called me. It's not that I didn't answer. The phone was on airplane mode. I'm sorry, Auntie. I don't know how things turned out this way. I had taken back the keys the day she left. I didn't open the door and only listened to her yelling like a madwoman. I casually called the security office. Ethan, I was just acting out of spite. I was wrong. I don't ask you to forgive me. I can be your slave to atone for my sins in the future." Ryan Davis came with her and was coaxing Ashley Smith. Okay, you're breaking my heart with your crying. You didn't know something like this would happen, and you've already apologized. What else does he want? I've never made you cry like this." I felt disgusted when I heard this and turned the TV up to the loudest volume. I don't know how long it had been, but there was no sound at the door. The security office must have taken her away. Then I received a message from Mr. Smith asking me to come to their house for dinner. They had been apologizing for Ashley Smith these days. It was Ashley Smith's fault, and they shouldn't have to pay for it. But as soon as I thought of what Ashley Smith had done, I didn't give them a good look. I just wanted to take this opportunity to explain to them about canceling the wedding. When I arrived at the Lynn's house, they apologized to me as usual. "Ethan's here. Your aunt made a big table of your favorite dishes today. You have to eat more later. Just treat it as our apology." Mr. Smith pulled me over, his tone heavy. If there hadn't been those accidents, Ashley Smith and I should have been standing at the wedding, toasting our relatives and friends. Ashley Smith was standing behind Mr. Smith, her cheeks swollen. It seemed that Mr. Smith had taught her a lesson. I didn't give her a single look. I just brushed off Mr. and Mrs. Smith's apologies. But every time I was about to mention canceling the engagement, they would always change the subject. At the dinner table, Mr. Smith toasted me with one glass after another. It's the father's fault for not teaching his son well. Ashley Smith made a mistake because we, as parents, failed. Ethan, your uncle, toast you for this. I drank one glass of strong liquor after another. I knew that Mr. and Mrs. Smith were sincerely apologizing to me. All parents in the world love their children, especially after my mom passed away. I could especially feel the weight of this sentence. As it was about to end, I excused myself to go to the bathroom, planning to find an excuse to leave. Canceling the engagement was already a certainty. I couldn't be with someone who had killed my mom. The relationship between the two families would just be maintained as a cooperative relationship. But as soon as I opened the bathroom door, I heard Ashley Smith's sharp, crying voice. You forced me to break up with Ryan Davis back then. I was with Ethan Wilson for your broken company and family fortune. I've listened to you in everything since I was little. I've dedicated everything. What else are you not satisfied with? Everything. G in the family is for Eric Johnson. Why is it always me who has to sacrifice? As soon as she finished speaking, Ashley Smith was slapped hard in the face. Eric Johnson was Ashley Smith's brother, who was 6 years younger than her. Daughters are born to be sacrifices. If you don't marry into the Carter family, there will be someone else. We've invested so much money in nurturing you, and we're waiting for your return. Shut up. I'll kill you if you cry again. Hatred instantly consumed me. At this moment, I realized how foolish my thoughts had been. It turned out that my relationship with Ashley Smith was a joke from beginning to end. Ashley Smith approached me just because of the Lynn family. But this wasn't the same as the Lynn family that I had in my impression and that my mom had described. The Lynn family used to give me the impression that they loved their children very much, at least before I was 6 years old. Before I was 6 years old, my family and the Lynn family were neighbors. At that time, although Mr. and Mrs. Smith were busy with work, they would try to take time to be with Ashley Smith. She always got the latest toys first, and her dresses were also the latest models. Mrs. Smith dressed her up like a princess. When she was a child, her personality was also like a princess. She often sat quietly next to us and watched us play games. We thought she was just quiet. After we got together, I even joked with her. You were so quiet when you were a kid. It's really true that girls change a lot as they grow up. Now it seems that her nature was suppressed when she was a child, and she only let go of herself more after she grew up. After I was 6 years old, my family moved away. It was also at that time that Ashley Smith's brother, Eric Johnson, was born. From then on, Ashley Smith and I lost contact. Only our parents had work dealings. At that time, I had a lot of schoolwork and rarely attended adult gatherings. I only occasionally heard my mom praise as play Smith nonstop when she came back from banquets. What girls change a lot as they grow up, graceful and slender, gentle and generous, all the beautiful words were all applied to Ashley Smith. And after I met her, it proved that what my mom said was indeed true, but I didn't expect that these were just her persona. No, it was also Mr. and Mrs. Smith's persona. After we got together, Mr. and Mrs. Smith were very enthusiastic to me. They were the ones who urged us to set the wedding date. But I didn't expect there to be such a story behind it. The alcohol sobered me up a little. I didn't want to vent my anger on them because of Ashley Smith. But no one in the Lynn family was innocent. I deliberately closed the bathroom door loudly, and the sound in the dining room stopped abruptly. I pretended that nothing had happened and walked to the dining room. Looking at the Lynn family's hypocritical masks, I gritted my teeth. I wanted to see what they were up to. Mr. Smith deliberately tried to get me drunk at the dinner table, and I agreed without saying a word. Until I pretended to be dizzy, Mr. and Mrs. Smith exchanged glances. Ethan is too drunk to drive. Why don't you stay here tonight? I raised an eyebrow, but didn't say anything. Quick, have someone clean up the guest room. Mr. Smith gave Mrs. Smith a look, then looked at Ashley Smith. Why don't you help Ethan upstairs? Ashley Smith was a little reluctant, but because of Mr. Smith, she could only help me. Seeing that I didn't resist, Mr. Smith's face became even more joyful. After entering the room, Mr. Smith closed the door. I fell on the bed, and Ashley Smith leaned on me. "Ethan, let me help you take off your clothes." I looked at her mockingly, pretending to be drunk and unable to open my eyes. I turned over and fell asleep, and Ashley Smith pouted and lay next to me. In the 4 years that Ashley Smith and I were together, we had never gone all the way. Every time we couldn't control ourselves, she LD say that she wanted to save it for our wedding night. How ironic. Nothing happened between Ashley Smith and me that night. But the next morning, she looked at me affectionately. "Ethan, you were too drunk last night and kept pulling me and not letting me leave." At the same time, Mr. and Mrs. Smith knocked on the door. "Ethan, Ashley Smith, are you up?" Ashley Smith responded. I gave Ashley Smith a cold look. After getting ready, Mr. and Mrs. Smith smiled from ear to ear and kept telling me to eat. Oh, it seems that Ethan still has Ashley Smith in his heart. Although she did something wrong, it wasn't her intention. That kid bewitched her. "Ethan, don't worry, things like that won't happen again in the future." I was thoughtful and didn't say anything. After eating, I said goodbye to the Lin family and went straight to the company. As soon as I got to the company, I immediately ordered my assistant to investigate the Lin family. I felt that something was wrong. Sure enough, the Lin family's financial situation had problems and they were in a state of loss. Just last month, a huge sum of money had been taken out, which made the Lin family even worse. The money was sent overseas. After checking, it turned out that Eric Johnson had caused trouble. Drunk driving overseas. According to the report sent by the assistant, Eric Johnson had caused a lot of trouble in the past few years. But Mr. and Mrs. Smith doted on him and used money to settle everything. In addition, their company began to decline, so they came up with the trick of selling their daughter. Without me, it would be someone else. But I really couldn't empathize with Ashley Smith. I only felt that if she wasn't satisfied, she could resist. She wouldn't have killed my mom. I thought about it for a long time at the company that day. To be honest, the Lin family was already riddled with holes. They just needed to be given another push, and they wouldn't be able to turn over. Just as I had come up with a plan, Eric Johnson came back. Every day, he posted a message. It was a photo of Eric Johnson getting off the plane. He looked a bit like Ashley Smith, but he was obviously spoiled. He had a rebellious look on his face. Even when Mr. and Mrs. Smith talked to him, he would look down and play with his phone, ignoring them. On the first day he came back, Mr. and Mrs. Smith prepared to pave the way for him. They held a grand welcoming ceremony and invited all the prominent figures in the circle. And I was one of them. When the Lin family sent me an invitation, they specifically told me that I had to go and explain about Ashley Smith and me in front of everyone. During this time, he even threatened me. "You and Ashley Smith have already gone all the way. You wouldn't want to be irresponsible, would you?" It seemed that Ashley Smith hadn't told Mr. Smith about that. When I arrived at the banquet, Mr. and Mrs. Smith were introducing Eric Johnson on the stage. "This is my youngest son. He used to live and study abroad. Now that he's grown up, it's time for him to learn how to manage the company. Please take care of him and give the young people a chance." Mr. Smith was all smiles, Eric Johnson was nonchalant, and only Ashley Smith looked serious. When Mr. Smith saw me, he hurriedly called me to the stage. "And there's our daughter, who's getting married soon." I snorted coldly. My mom's body was still cold, but they couldn't wait. I just stood under the stage, coldly watching this scene. Mr. Smith didn't insist and laughed it off. Mr. Smith told everyone to enjoy themselves and pulled Eric Johnson over to toast me. "Quick, call him brother-in-law. You'll need your brother-in-law's help in the future." Eric Johnson called me reluctantly, and I took a sip of wine. But out of the corner of my eye, I saw Ashley Smith being led upstairs by a man with his arm around her waist. From the back, I could tell how reluctant Ashley Smith was, but she was grabbed tightly by that person. And she had no room to resist. The boring banquet ended, and just as I was about to leave, Ashley Smith stopped me with a tired face. After we walked to a secluded place, Ashley Smith grabbed my hand. "Ethan, let's get married, okay? It was my fault before. I know I was wrong. I'll apologize to Auntie. I really don't know how things turned out this way." I snorted coldly. "Okay, then go down and apologize to my mom. If she can forgive you, we'll get married right away." After saying that, I shook off Ashley Smith's hand. I knew that Mr. Smith had forced Ashley Smith to do a lot of disgusting things over the years, but the worst thing they should have done was to set their sights on me. After leaving the Lynn's house, I immediately contacted the Lynn family's competitor, and we quickly reached an agreement. In the next few days, Mr. Smith brought Eric Johnson to my company, talking about how I, his future brother-in-law, should help his brother-in-law. He told me to take Eric Johnson out to play more, and I didn't refuse. Eric Johnson was the Lynn family's lifeline. Since Mr. Smith had handed him over to me, he couldn't blame me for being rude. Those few days, I pretended to take Eric Johnson to various events and introduce him to the presidents of various companies. Eric Johnson was an impatient person, and he couldn't stand it after a few days. "My dad told you to take me out to have fun. Why are you taking me to such boring parties every day?" I spread my hands. "You're going to inherit the company in the future. Your dad specifically told me to take you to get familiar with it." Hearing this, Eric Johnson immediately became impatient. I quickly changed my tone. "How about this? After you seriously attend this reception, I'll take you out to have fun." Eric Johnson's eyes lit up, and then he looked at me with disbelief. What can you take me to do?" I smiled mysteriously and took him into a private room. Fortunately, he was quite cooperative this time. After the reception, I took him to a private racing club. It was full of people who liked extreme sports. I heard that Eric Johnson had killed someone in a car accident overseas because of speeding. Sure enough, he fell in love with this place and didn't go home for several days in a row. When Mr. Smith came, he would pretend for a while. I not only took Eric Johnson out to play, but also raced with him. This person admired me after a few days. "Brother-in-law, I didn't expect you to manage the family business and be so good at racing. You're the only one who's my match. No one else can do it." In a few days, he surrendered to me. Mr. Smith was slowly handing over the family business to Eric Johnson, who didn't want to manage it. He often complained to me, and as an understanding brother-in-law, I would, of course, help my little brother-in-law solve his problems. So Eric Johnson would send me the work Mr. Smith gave him every day. I helped him solve it and learned a lot about the Lynn family's internal affairs. Their family, which deals in decorative materials, is now all show and no substance. Although the Lynn family looks fine now, they are suffering heavy losses. It was in the documents that Eric Johnson sent me today that I discovered a problem. The Lynn family was cutting corners. The wood quality of a shipment was obviously different from before, and the expenses were also very different. I immediately contacted my assistant to have him determine if there were any problems with our goods. After checking all the goods, the assistant ran in. I knew immediately, and my face darkened. The Lynn family was really bold, daring to tamper with this. I immediately had the assistant dispose of it quietly and then ordered a batch of quality goods from someone else. "Mr. Carter, what do you want to do? If we use this batch of goods, the consequences will be unimaginable." The Lynn family didn't even think about leaving us any room. I pondered for a moment and then sent an email to the Lynn family's customers. After making sure they received it, I contacted the media. This matter would be the last straw that broke the Lin family's back. The afternoon after contacting the media, something happened to the Lin family. First, the media reported that someone had contracted acute leukemia after using the Lin family's decorative materials. Several attempts to defend their rights failed. Several people who were unwilling to accept money contacted the media. This matter had happened recently. I immediately convened a meeting and asked my people to test all of the Lin family's goods for formaldehyde. Just as the news broke, something happened to Eric Johnson. I was in a meeting at the company when Eric Johnson called me. His voice was flustered. "Bro, save me, save me." My face darkened, and I went out to answer the phone. "Calm down, tell me slowly what happened." "Bro, I didn't mean to, I really didn't mean to." Eric Johnson started to cry as he spoke. I rubbed my temples, knowing that he had gotten into trouble again. He insisted on fighting with me. I had no choice but to accidentally hit him. I really didn't mean to. The Lin siblings really loved to do things accidentally. And a bit of a lesson, too. After roughly understanding what had happened, I told Eric Johnson to stay where he was and not move. "Don't touch him, I'll be right there." He was already a bit out of it. "Then hurry up." Eric Johnson was like this abroad. When he did something wrong, he would pretend to be pitiful and innocent, or he would have mental problems. Anyway, the Lin family would clean up his mess. I just didn't expect him to trust me this much. After hanging up the phone, I called a media person I knew. "Bring more people, he's emotionally unstable, I don't know what he might do." They were quite fast. After the meeting, I saw the news that the Lin Group's young master had hit someone. In the video, Eric Johnson was mentally very unstable. Unfortunately, Mr. S. Smith was busy holding a press conference and couldn't take care of him. When I arrived, Eric Johnson grabbed me tightly as if he had seen a lifeline. He didn't suspect at all how the media knew about this. "Bro, tell them it wasn't my fault. Bro, give them money, our family has a lot of money, give it all to them, I don't want to go in." Looking at his pained expression, I just found it funny. The man he hit was also a young master, and this time, money probably wouldn't solve the problem. Hearing me say this, Eric Johnson suddenly turned red-eyed. "Where's my dad? Why isn't he here yet? Why isn't he coming to save me? I don't want to go in." He made a scene in the police station like a madman. The man he hit had died because he had been delayed from receiving the best treatment, and his family arrived soon. Their demands were simple. They wanted Eric Johnson to pay the price and would not accept any form of settlement. At the same time, I regretfully told Eric Johnson that the Lin family was facing bankruptcy and that Mr. Smith couldn't make it. Eric Johnson slumped to the ground. I recalled Eric Johnson's experience abroad. He had been to the police station for a month for fighting. But everyone knows what prisons are like abroad. There are all kinds of people. He was bullied badly in there. It was said that he came out dazed and stayed in the proctology department for a month. I looked at this scene with a sneer. Soon, Ashley Smith arrived. The moment he saw Ashley Smith, Eric Johnson cried like a child. Ashley Smith shook him off in disgust. It seemed the two had a long-standing feud, and there was no way Ashley Smith would save him. "Eric Johnson, how much trouble have you caused since you were a kid? Hasn't the Lin family cleaned up enough messes for you? Now, Mom and Dad are overwhelmed. Can you stop causing trouble for a while?" Then she looked at the police and said she was willing to cooperate with the verdict. Eric Johnson was completely desperate. "Ashel. Why, Smith? Are you doing this on purpose? Get my dad here. You get out. You woman, you, I'll kill you." Fortunately, the police grabbed him in time. Ashley Smith looked at him with disgust. "My words are Dad's words. If it weren't for you, how would our family have become like this?" After saying that, she ignored Eric Johnson's screams. and I, an outsider, naturally left as well. The Lin family's affairs caused a great uproar, and many customers were demanding refunds. After the police intervened in the investigation, Mr. Smith called me. "Ethan, someone is trying to frame your uncle. Your uncle's hard work can't be destroyed like this. Help your uncle, anyway. You and Ashley are going to get married." I sneered. "Mr. Smith, I have never agreed to this marriage. Why does the Lin family like to talk to themselves so much?" "Oh, right, Mr. Smith. Please process our company's refunds first." After saying that, I hung up the phone in a good mood. But I didn't expect Mr. Smith to come to my company with Ashley Smith and reporters in the afternoon. "Ethan, you're really too heartless. Ashley is pregnant with your child now. You can't treat her like this. Even if you don't consider the friendship between our two families, you have to consider the child's sake and help us." As he spoke, he wiped away non-existent tears. "We're fine, but Ashley can't suffer with us." I looked at this scene coldly, and the flashes of light in front of me kept flashing. Mr. Smith took out the pregnancy test report, which was from the night I stayed at the Lin family's house. I curled my lips and looked at Ashley Smith. Perhaps because she felt guilty, she kept her head down. Mr. Smith nudged her, and she looked at me with red eyes. "Ethan, this is your child. You have to take responsibility." "Oh, how can Miss Lin be sure that this is my child?" I raised an eyebrow and gestured to my assistant. Several photos appeared in front of everyone. Ashley Smith cheated multiple times during our relationship, and even got married to another man with great fanfare some time ago. I believe everyone has heard about it. What did everyone say about me back then? A wimp, that's right. It's just because I loved Ashley Smith during our relationship that I couldn't bear to touch her, who knew she was so unchaste. I pretended to be distraught. When I saw these photos, I felt like my worldview had collapsed. I couldn't believe that my lover would do such a thing, but this is the truth. I thought she was young and her thoughts were immature, so I would give her another chance, but she didn't even come to my mother's funeral. Thinking of my mother, a tear ran down my eye. Instantly, I created a deep and affectionate persona in front of the public. The stock price soared. Looking at Mr. Smith's frustrated look, I tried hard to suppress the corners of my mouth. At this time, they were surrounded by reporters and left in disgrace. In less than 2 days, the Lin family was forced to execute $150 million and declared bankruptcy. They no longer had the money to take care of Eric Johnson. In the future, he could only stay in jail. But compared to the outside, he was still safe inside. After all, he had food and drink. Once he got out, he wouldn't know which day he would die an unnatural death. That afternoon, Mr. Smith was admitted to the hospital and was said to have had a stroke, and in the future could only lie in bed. Mrs. Smith couldn't take it and jumped off a building. All the debts were on Ashley Smith's shoulders. She even started auctioning herself off. Unfortunately, no one was willing to take this hot potato. After the Lin family went bankrupt, Ashley Smith came to me once. She apologized to me very sincerely. At first, I just wanted to resist the Lin family, but I didn't expect to harm your aunt. I directly called the property management to kick her out. It was too late to say anything now. My mom wouldn't come back to life, and my hatred for them didn't disappear. Later, I found out that not long after they finished their honeymoon, Ryan Davis was sent abroad by Mr. Smith to threaten Ashley Smith. They were indeed a pair of star-crossed lovers. Unfortunately, Ethan Wilson had already started a new life abroad, and Ashley Smith was like a rat crossing the street, hiding from debt collectors. I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. All of this had nothing to do with me. After everything was over, I went to see my mom. It felt like a century had passed in just 1 month. The end.